Welcome to today's Explainer. So we're diving into a really fantastic source today from Passive Income Academy, and it's called Millionaire Money Habits That Changed My Life. We're going to completely break down the 10 essential habits this source identifies for building serious wealth and securing your financial freedom. And when you actually look at the data and the daily practices of self-made millionaires, the super clear pattern emerges. They absolutely do not just wake up wealthy overnight. Instead, they literally engineer their wealth year after year by building very specific, intentional routines. Which really begs the ultimate question, right? What actually separates millionaires from everyone else? I mean, is it just pure luck? Is it having some massive, high-paying job? Well, while those things definitely help, the truth found in our source material is actually remarkably simple. What creates that massive financial divide isn't some crazy one-time event. It's consistent habits. It's those small, everyday decisions that compound over time. And the absolutely amazing news here, these habits do not require any special superhuman abilities. Anyone can do this. All right, here's our roadmap for today's Explainer. First, we'll look at the millionaire myth. Second, defense, protect your money. Third, offense, grow your wealth. Fourth, mindset, think and act. And finally, number 5, the 5-year challenge. Let's get right into it. Okay, starting off with section 1. Defense, protect your money. This is all about keeping the money you actually make. So this brings us right to habit number 2 from our source, living below your means. Now, most people totally fall into this look rich trap. You know how it goes. They start making a little more money and boom, immediately they're buying unnecessary things. Designer clothes, the absolute newest phone, you name it. But millionaires, they prioritize actually becoming rich. This is exactly why so many actual real-life millionaires drive completely normal, reliable cars. They understand this fundamental rule. Just because you make more money absolutely does not mean you should spend it. True financial freedom, it only comes from keeping your expenses strictly lower than your income. And to keep those expenses low, you really have to master habit number 6, which is avoiding bad debt. Look, millionaires deeply understand the difference here. There's good debt, which buys assets, and then there's bad debt, which just buys liabilities. And bad debt, it is a total wealth destroyer. We're talking about expensive credit card balances, unnecessary personal loans, and just generally financing stuff you really don't need. Carrying bad debt means you're paying high interest rates, and that literally drains your potential wealth right out of your pocket. Eliminating this is hands down one of the absolute fastest ways to fix your financial picture. Now, you might be wondering, what does the number 3 to 6 mean for your finances? Well, according to habit number 7, it means building an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of living expenses and keeping that saved in liquid cash. So why is this so critical for your financial defense? Because let's face it, unexpected expenses always happen. Medical emergencies, a sudden job loss, major car repairs out of nowhere. Millionaires prepare for these exact problems way before they strike. Having that cash buffer protects your investments, so if things go sideways, you don't have to sell off your assets in a total panic. Which naturally brings us to habit number 9, tracking every single dollar. There was a totally perfect saying for this: you cannot improve what you do not measure. Highly successful people know exactly where their money goes. They're not just guessing at the end of the month. They maintain a strict budget, they track their expenses, and they intimately understand their cash flow. Think about it. If you don't know where your money is leaking out, how on earth can you plug the hole? Knowing exactly where your money goes is literally step 1 toward actually controlling it. All right, let's switch gears to section 2, offense. Grow your wealth. This part is all about multiplying your money. Right out of the gate on offense is habit number 1, pay yourself first. The difference in behavior here is just a total paradigm shift. Most people, right, they let their paycheck hit the bank, they pay their bills, maybe buy a new gadget or go out, and then they try to save whatever tiny amount happens to be left over. And honestly, usually it's nothing. But millionaires completely invert this. They save and invest first. Literally, the very first bill they pay is to their own future. This foundational habit is totally non-negotiable if you want to build wealth. Let's see how this math actually plays out in real life. Let's say your monthly income is $5,000. By paying yourself first, you immediately carve out a percentage, let's say 20%, which is a solid $1,000, and you automatically invest it before you even have a chance to look at it or think about spending it. Then, you just force yourself to live off the remaining 80%. Automating this whole process removes willpower from the equation entirely, and it essentially guarantees that your wealth is going to grow every single month. And actually, that automatic process perfectly sets up habit number 3, invest consistently. Consistency beats timing. I gotta tell you, that might just be the single most valuable sentence in investing. Beginners so often sit on the sidelines, trying to time the market, waiting for the absolute perfect time to jump in. But millionaires, they do not play that game. They invest every single month, totally mechanically. Whether the stock market is hitting record highs or going through a scary crash, they just keep buying. They let compound growth do its magic, turning small, consistent amounts into absolute fortunes over time. Now, as your wealth starts to grow, you apply habit number 4, building multiple income streams. Relying solely on one salary is actually incredibly risky. I mean, if you lose that job, your income instantly drops to zero. Wealthy people almost always have more than one source of income. This might start out with just your salary, sure, but then it expands. It grows into investments, dividend income, maybe a side online business, real estate, or selling digital products. Having diverse streams of income creates ultimate financial security, because if one stream suddenly dries up or pauses, the others just keep right on flowing. Moving on to section 3, mindset, think and act. We're going to look at the psychology of the wealthy. Habit number 5 is to constantly keep learning about money. The rich view education not as something that just suddenly stops after you finish school, but as a crucial lifelong investment. They read financial books, they listen to wealth-building podcasts, and they deeply study investing and business trends. Why put in all that effort? Because continuous financial education fundamentally upgrades the way you think about money. The more you learn, the sharper your context becomes, and ultimately you're going to make vastly better financial decisions. Your whole perspective on time also has to completely change, which brings us to habit number 8. Focus on long-term goals. Look, we live in a society that is absolutely obsessed with instant gratification and all those get-rich-quick schemes on social media. But millionaires, they operate on a totally different timeline. They measure their financial journey in years and decades, not days and weeks. Building durable, lasting wealth takes time, and patience is a highly, highly profitable skill. The investors who just stay in the game, quietly compounding for long periods, they're the ones who capture the most incredible results. But here's the kicker. All the patience and learning in the world is completely useless without habit number 10, taking action. Knowledge alone simply does not create wealth. You could literally read 100 books on investing and still be dead broke. So many people suffer from this massive analysis paralysis, but self-made millionaires are incredibly decisive. They make a solid plan, and then they take immediate action. They actually open that brokerage account. They start investing. They launch the business. They go out there and actively create opportunities instead of just waiting around for them to magically appear. And that leads us perfectly into section 4, the 5-year challenge. Let's talk about your financial future. The source material challenges us to truly, really imagine where our lives could be exactly 5 years from today if we just committed to these habits. It's a surprisingly simple blueprint. Step 1, pay yourself and save first. Step 2, spend less than you earn and absolutely avoid bad debt. Step 3, invest consistently to create multiple income streams. And step 4, take massive action. Remember the core message of this whole explainer. Millionaires are not born with superhuman abilities. They simply build the right habits. And you can too. Because your financial future doesn't start tomorrow or, when you finally get that promotion or raise. It starts today with the choices you make right now. So I'll leave you with a final question to think about. What decision will you make first? Will you finally set up that automatic transfer? Will you start strictly tracking your expenses this week? A massive thank you to Passive Income Academy for the incredibly insightful source material driving today's explainer. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep building those wealth habits, and I will see you in the next explainer.